What's up everyone, Kyle here from RDM2120. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different from what we normally do. I'm going to discuss a topic that's been kind of in my head for the past week or so, and that's how the meta is going to shape up after the ban list, and how I feel the decks are going to be after the ban list. In my opinion, there's going to be about 7 or so top decks. The format's going to be a lot more diverse, and I've got my little note paper thingy here because I can't memorize things worth shit. So, yeah. So, this is like all my notes and stuff. So, for the top decks of the format, in my opinion, it's going to be Evil Storms, E-Dragons, and Prophecies. In my opinion, that's not going to change. E-Drags, Prophecies are going to get slowed down. So I feel that other decks are going to be able to compete because of that. Evil Storms is still going to be relevant because even though they're going to be slowed down, E-Drags and Prophecies are still hurt by them because of Evil Storms' accessibility to locking out level 5 and highers, and their easy access to deck devastation virus, and Eradicator epidemic virus. Other decks I think are going to do well is there's going to be a rise in 3 access Fire Fist because the deck is really good. And Rooster just makes that deck like actually worth playing. So I think that's going to become good. And I actually believe Fire Kings are going to become good because Garunix is a really, really powerful card. They're also getting Yaksha and Wolf Bark. What a stupid fucking name. Coach Soldier Wolf Bark. That's so dumb. Anyway, those cards are going to make the deck very powerful. It has Onslaught of the Fire Kings, which is like instant Garunix. It's got Yakshas to get rid of those dead Garunixes. It can run Tankies to search the stuff out, and because it's using Tankies, that means that Bear and Gorilla, whatever they want to run, is also going to be viable. And then Wolfbark just gets everything back. They can go into Tiger Kings, get rid of Ophion's effect, and then go into other shit with Circle. They can do a bunch of things, and it's just really, really good. Constellars, in my opinion, they've always been good. They've topped a couple of events from my knowledge. They've always been good though, but they've just been outclassed by Prophecy and E-Drags, and even though they have a good Evil Swarm matchup, the amount of Prophecy and E-Drags is just making it not so that they can compete as well as they could, and I feel that they're gonna be able to get back into the format because E-Drags and Prophecies are gonna be slowed down to the point where Constellars can compete, and they also have a pretty decent Fire Fist matchup because they can just bounce everything back, force the Tensu double summon on something that they don't want, and it can just overall slow the deck down, bounce back the Horse Prince, all that kind of stuff. And then gadgets, same reason as Constellars. I just find they're always good. They've been able to hold hand advantage for a long time. They're really good at it. They can make any generic season with Crazy Box that gives them access to Eradicator Epidemic for the Prophecy matchup. So I feel that they're a viable deck there. So now I'm going to get into more of why I think all these decks are going to be able to become more relevant, and a lot of people are going to say it's because of the new support, and that's only half of the reason. I think the other half is going to be based on the ban list, because if E-Drags and Prophecies don't get touched by the upcoming ban list, then I don't feel that any of those decks are going to even do well anyway, just because of how powerful they are. And even if the other decks are doing well in the beginning, E-Drags and Prophecy will just adapt, like how Prophecy adapted to E-Drags and not running Priestess anymore and just running Kaikus and Jowgins and stuff. So, what do I think is going to happen? Well, for Dragon Rulers, I can see Super Rejuvenation and Big Eye, both of them getting either limited, possibly a ban on one or both of them. I can see the ban happening. Do I think it's going to happen? No, I think they're both going to get limited. Super Rejuve, I can see it getting limited, not banned, because it is a power card. For E-Drags, in the same sense that like Reborn or Heavy Storm is a power card. It gives you that huge advantage when you use it, or it can just win games on its own because what I mean by winning games on its own is the feeling of watching your opponent overextend, thinking you can get over it. It's like, okay, great, I can get over your field, and then your opponent just super rejuving and then drawing their whole hand again, and then it's like, well, great, now I have to get rid of their field, and then I have to get rid of it again next turn. But it won't be as consistent as it is now. You also won't be able to go rejuve, and then, oh look, I drew into another rejuve, I'm just going to play it again, and then draw even more cards. It won't be like that. Big Eye, everyone knows why Big Eye deserves to be hit. It wins games on its own. It's an Eradicator Epidemic target. It has no drawback except for not being able to attack that turn, but who honestly gives a shit? It's honestly one of the reasons why Mermail were able to do so well in the earlier parts of the format. They were just able to steal any monster that they didn't want, and then they could also swarm the board. It's like swarming the board, negating effects with Abyss Gaios, stealing monsters, and then having a Megalo that can attack twice is just ridiculously good. Because if you have a Megalo that can attack twice, that's 4,800 right there, plus the Abyss Gaios swinging for 28, and then whatever you stole off Big Eye, or even Big Eye itself if it didn't steal anything. It's just too good. And the Eradicator Epidemic target part makes even E-Dragons have a viable thing against Prophecy, and if you saw it, if you read the Nats thing, Eradicator Epidemic was winning a lot of games. Pretty sure it won the winner. The winner won with it in Game 3. But anyway, that's what I can see being hit. For Prophecies and Spellbooks, I don't see Judgment getting hit, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, wait, how do you not see Judgment getting hit? In my opinion, it's too new for a hit. Konami's not just going to hit a card that's only been out for about a month or 2 months, I believe. Simply because it's really good. I've played against a lot of Prophecy decks, and I find that the fact that they can get 2 Judgment so easily is the problem. I don't really have a problem with them using Judgment itself. Like, if you really think about it, Prophecy needs the boost in power to do well, but the problem is they had a much too consistent engine before the power spike. So now that they have that one power card that they can run at 3, and they already have the 6 searchers, you have 9 of the power card essentially, because you have the blue guy who then searches your secrets, you have your secrets who then searches your Spellbook of Judgment, and then you play Spellbook of Judgment. Or just secrets into the Spellbook of Judgment, or whatever they do. They end up thinning their deck out a bunch, and then they play the Spellbook of Judgment and do their shenanigans. But I feel that the cards that are going to get hit for Prophecy are going to be Spellbook of Secrets and Spellbook Magician, because they search everything. I've played against so many Prophecy matchups, and 90% of them start off with either Secrets or a blue guy, and they don't even have the Judgment in hand. They're just going to go and search for it. And then if you stop that from happening, or you hurt their chances of them being able to search, it'll slow down the deck, but it'll still give that deck the needed power spike. Because it was an okay deck before Judgment, but it wasn't amazing. Like, it was really easy to beat. But I can see those getting hit. Now, semied or limited, I can see a combination of them. Like, I can see one of them going to 1, the other one going to 2. I can see both of them going to 1. I can see both of them going to 2. It doesn't really matter. In my opinion, they just need to hit the consistency of spellbooks, not necessarily the power. That's also what I think. Why I think Super Rejuvenation is going to get hit, and not the E-Drags themselves, because they want to hit the ability for a deck to be consistent. Like, E-Dragons can make a Drago sack by ditching 4 dragons, and then Super Rejuving to try to get into the more cards. Super Rejuve makes their deck more consistent for overextending, and that's what I mean. Like, I feel that Konami is going to try to hit more of the older cards that are helping a deck more than the newer cards. It also happens that those older cards are based more off the consistency of the deck and not so much the power. Also, I've noticed Konami tends to ban a lot of consistency cards. Some examples that would be like Charge Light Brigade, Shian Smoke Signal, Rhoda, Sangan just let up banned, Black Whirlwind, made Black Wings really, really consistent. You could just like play 2 Black Whirlwinds, summon 1 monster, get double search off. Allure of Darkness was hit, that's at 1. You have, well, D-Draw in the past was hit, it was at 1, and then they brought it back to 2, and then to 3. Stratos is at 1. Emergency Calls at 1. You've got a lot of these consistency cards that are just at 1 or 0. D-Draw, while it is at 3 right now, if D-Heroes were to suddenly explode, and D-Draw was a commonplace card in the deck, then it would probably go down really quickly. What I think is going to happen to Evil Swarms, to be completely honest, and I'm going to sound incredibly biased when I say this because I am an Evil Swarm player, I honestly don't think anything is going to really happen to them. In terms of major hits, like Prophecy, I can see their stuff going to 1. Evil Swarms, I can't really see anything getting limited. Evil Swarms, they're doing good, but especially if you look at the OCG, where it's only like 10 to 15% of the overall decks are Evil Swarm, it's not doing as well as the other 2. Like, it does have bad matchups. The other 2, while they have the occasional, like, they struggle against specific cards, they don't overall have a bad matchup. Like, E-Drags, if they're playing against an Evil Swarm deck that's not using Ophion, they're going to win. Prophecies are going to win if there's nothing using Eradicator Epidemic Virus. They struggle more against specific cards and specific scenarios more than the specific deck itself. So, Evil Swarms, I can see them not getting touched too hard by it, simply because they do have bad matchups. They do lose to rogue matchups like Constellars, Fire Fists, the 4-Axis one. They have matchups that they're just inherently bad at due to their playstyle. And because of that, I feel that they're not going to get touched as much as the other ones. Like even in the even in TCG, they top, but they don't ever win anything. If I'm correct, it's sort of like the old Fire Fists, how it would top, but it would never actually win anything, and Mermail was always the one winning. Another thing I want to talk about is possible other hits. This is going to go over cards that might get hit lightly, or I'm just not expecting them to get hit, or they might get, but if they do get hit, they might get hit hard. So, first of all, I'm going to talk about Evil Swarms. As I said, I don't think they're going to get hit. If they do get hit, though, the cards I can see being hit are either Ophion, Krikion, or Caster. Any one of those 3 going to 2. I do not see more than one of their cards getting hit, though. Limiting Ophion to 2 does more to the deck than people think. You can go through 3 Ophion in a matchup really easily. So it's not that big of an issue. I don't see Ophion getting banned. So for anyone who thinks he's going to get banned, I don't think so. Unless Konami is incredibly stupid. Because I know a lot of people are going to want to play Evil Swarm because of all the new synchro crap that's coming out in the next format. Not to mention the set's relatively new anyway. Plus, odds are in the next 10s, which is coming with Tachyon, something else, and Hidden Arsenal. The most probable Hidden Arsenal card set that's going to be in it is going to be Hidden Arsenal 7, and that's when all the Evil Swarm shit came in, and Krikion came out loaded with Tachyon Galaxy, which is also in the tins, confirmed. So, again, I don't see much Evil Swarm stuff getting hit, but if it does, I can see any of those cards going to 2. For other cards, consistency cards I can see getting hit would be Dragoons and Tenki. Dragoons I could see just going flat out to 1. Earlier on in the format, when freaking, what's their faces, Mermails were shitting on everything, before E-Drags and everything, it was ridiculous. So, but then again, Mermails aren't necessarily doing that well in the OCG at the moment. They're not even doing that well right now here, but I can see Dragoons possibly getting hit. It's a searching card that has no attack and defense restriction, nor does it have a level restriction. It just has a type restriction. It's just got the Sea Serpent restriction. Tenki is splashable in quite a few decks. It's splashable in Constellars. It's splashable in Fire Fists. which is the deck it's meant to be using. So it's splashable on Fire Kings. And there's probably other decks out there that use Beast Warriors that I haven't thought of. And when you splash Tenki in, it also allows you to splash in Bear, because Bear can use the Tenki to pop stuff if you actually need a monster out of the board, off the board. I can see that getting hit to 2-1. 2 is probably where I'd see it getting hit at, because it is a good card. But I don't see them hurting it so bad, because they kind of do want to push the sales of their next upcoming cards. So I can see Tenki going to 2. I think 2 would be a safe number for it, if it does get hit. Then again, I'm not expecting it to get hit. And Eradicator Epidemic Virus. I'm not expecting this card to get touched, but if it does, I can see it going anywhere from 2 to 0. Just flat out, I can see it getting banned. Do I think it's going to get banned? No. Personally, I think it's going to stay at 3. Maybe 2. Maybe even 1. But the reason I can see it getting hit is because it single-handedly destroys Prophecy, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily hurt too many other decks to the point where they're going to auto-lose. They can still fight back and win. Fire Fists, even though they may lose their initial spells, they will easily just use Bears and stuff like that to regain their spells, because you are attributing your Ophion for it, you are attributing your Crazy Box for it, you are attributing whatever. You are losing field advantage to use it, and you're really banking on hitting a lot of spells. But there are some decks that can just shrug it off, and they're not as spell reliant as other decks. So I feel that that's an important note for it, but then again, it does single-handedly destroy spellbooks. If you open up Eradicator against spellbooks with any deck that makes it that can have it live first turn, you've pretty much won the game. Unless you have absolutely no follow-up for 3 turns. But even then, you generally will win unless they top deck a really good card. But yeah, that's my thoughts. For the upcoming format, I think that there's going to be about 7 or 8 decks, possibly even more. Maybe we'll see a recurrence of Rescue Rabbits, or just Rabbit decks in general. Dark World, Samurais. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more diversity, especially if things get hit. But I don't think it's going to stay as diverse as that. I think it's going to narrow down to about anywhere from 5 to 8 decks. And I've said the 8 decks I think are going to do well, personally in my opinion. Evil Swarm, E-Dragons, Prophecy, Fire Fists, Fire Kings I wasn't actually too keen on, but then I've been playing against them a lot. My brother plays them. They're really, really good, and they shouldn't be underestimated. Grunix can win a game by itself. And when you have 2 Grunix going, it's stupid. Constellar and Gadgets. Constellar and Gadgets, in my opinion, they kind of, when I play against them or play with them, they kind of have the same feel as each other, and like Evil Swarm as well, where you're just adding cards into your deck when you exceed. You're getting advantage, whether you're going into King Pharaoh Limp or Gear Gigant X, or with Constellars, whether you're bouncing stuff back, protecting your stuff, whatever. They're exceed decks. I think they're going to do well, especially because they have a pretty damn good Evil Swarm matchup, because none of them focus on level 5 or higher. They have, like, I know Constellars, they can beat Dragons, and I think that if Dragons get slowed down or hurt, that Constellars can win, because Constellars can get over the initial field of Dragons pretty easily most of the time without barring Breakthrough skill or something. So I think that Constellars are going to be good. Gadgets, Fire Kings, because Yaksha Wolfberg makes that deck look really, really good. Fire Fist, 3-axis variant. 4-axis I think is going to do okay, but I just think 3-axis version is far superior. Prophecy, I don't think that deck's going to die. I don't think E-Dragons are going to die, and I don't think Evil Swarms are going to die. But I think there's going to be more diversity than there is right now. But, yeah. Those are my opinions. Feel free to disagree. If you disagree, post in the comment section below why you disagree. Don't just say disagree. At least this way it can cause some conversation on the topic. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. See you guys later.